How do you overcome an existential crisis? Now, many people fall into these types of things. It's usually regarded as, oh, I've fallen into an existential crisis when I'm around 35 to 40 years old, things like this. But a lot of people still have this existential issue, even just in their earlier years, like being 20, 25, whatever. So how do you actually try and look at this in a proactive way? How do you try and combat this issue? Because ultimately, what we're dealing with here, we're dealing with a sense of being lost, a sense of no direction. And it is most likely because you feel lost, and you feel lost because you don't have any direction. This is really where it stems from a lot of the time. People don't know where they're going, what they're doing, what their plans are. So how do we confront this? So how do we find our own direction? I would say there's 3 steps to this, 3 proactive steps to sorting this problem out. And the answer, step 1, is through education, which is number 1. Now, that doesn't have to be traditional education, it just means the process of learning, enacting oneself to learn about life experience, learn about things of this world, learn about wisdom, knowledge, and different pursuits of interests. Only through education will you find your passion and interests. And it is your passion in life that will lead you towards the righteous path and direction you are seeking for through the acquisition of knowledge. So it's very important, if you're feeling lost, if you're feeling directionless, the number 1 step to partake on or to go on to is like, if I feel lost, I need to educate myself because I need to figure out what my passions are. If I can figure out what my passions are, my strong interests, then I can probably figure out what my vocation is. And if I can figure out my vocation, I can find direction in my life. So once you have something or have found something to be passionate about through your pursuit of education, and you have discovered what you are good at, you have figured out what skills you naturally have, or you learn certain skills that tend towards the kind of the intuitive abilities that you have they've always resided within you. You then need to take action. That's the second rule. That's the second step. Take action. You start to reveal. By doing this, you take action to start to reveal to the world what you are ready and willing to strive for. It is the action you take as an outcome of your education that will give you something to work on that involves a goal that is directed towards accomplishment within the real world. Now, this is the complete opposite of education, you could say. It's like the inversion of education. Education is an internal process. You're learning things. You're learning about the world. You're learning about experiences, theories, technicalities, all of this type of stuff. And this is a process of making, through action, the internal external. You're externalizing what has become introverted. That is what you're doing through action. You're putting your intelligence to the test of life and the world outside through action as a testing ground, so that you can externalize your education and craft it into a form of your own identity through achievement and practical real-world application. So step 2 is action. You have to learn, educate yourself on something, and take action on the basis of what you have learned. Now, once you take action, the final rule, the third step, becomes consistency. That's the third step, to become consistent, to figure out a way to be disciplined, a way to master that of your craft through action. Or in other words, mastering the art of creation. The final step is to figure out how you will become disciplined so that you reach the goal or the multiple goals that you have in mind that are aligned towards the purpose and passion that you have discovered for your life. This final step is the most difficult to accomplish out of all 3, because it requires you to constantly readapt, realign, change up your lifestyle on a weekly, daily, monthly basis, depending on what you are doing, so that the cultivation of mastering your own craft as an individual is achieved. This is not something that happens overnight, but requires constant testing. You constantly need to test the way in which you are doing things through your routine, through the discipline, through the application of methods, so that you are productive and that you are effective, that the application of your skills is actually coming to the fruition of other things externally in the world. You need to, the world becomes your testing ground for different ways you can approach life through the pursuit of your passion. And this can take months or even years for you to develop and learn. It takes a long time. Now, the difference between someone achieving or failing this final step of consistency, which I would say is the final gateway, you could say, to an individual's success, is if they have this down, is dependent on their perspective of failure. Has the individual learned that failure is a great teacher that rewards them with clues on how to improve, or do they view failure as a deterrent to their own ambition, willpower, drive, and determination when they fall into failure? When they reach failure, do they use it as a catalyst for change and consistency and positive perspective, or do they use it to just be like, oh, this is a sign that I shouldn't be doing this, or I can't do this. I'm not possible in doing or achieving what I want to do. So you could say the gateway to success is dependent on how humble you are in the face of difficulty. The more humble you are, the more you're going to achieve success, because you're going to look at failure and you're going to embrace failure. You're going to want to have failure because you know that, well, if I fail more, then that means I'm going to learn the lessons that I need to learn quicker so that I can get to my goal and achieve the success that I want on a quicker basis. Be more sped up for you instead of, failing, taking it personally and all of this type of stuff. And then retreating and then it damaging your ego a little bit. Instead, it should be a different way in which you perceive this type of thing. If you're an arrogant individual in the face of failure, you will fail all the time. You will constantly keep failing because you'll take it personally, the failure itself, which is only natural to life, and then you'll probably just stop doing what you're trying to do or trying to achieve. So you have to ask yourself this kind of question here is, do you react negatively to failure as a detriment and take it too personally to the point of burning down your own dreams in the process? Or do you take failure as a blessing, a lesson and a teaching of what not to do? An opportunity instead, through learnt wisdom, to better streamline your efforts towards what is right so that you reach even closer to your own personal desires of success. How do you perceive failure? That is the ultimate question of whether someone succeeds or whether someone does permanently fail and not achieve what they want to achieve. So you could say that the choice is yours. For perspective, you could say is fundamentally what you could call the master key to unlocking all the doors that you confront in life. So let me know what your opinions are on this, guys. When it comes to existential issues of not knowing where to go in life, not knowing what to do, apply these 3 rules: education, action, and consistency. If you apply those 3 rules, you will figure out what you want to do. You will find or rekindle a passion that you either previously had or haven't even confronted with yet or been blessed with yet. And this will massively help you get out of any kind of existential crisis with regards to not knowing what to do in life or not knowing what even life is about for you or what God has blessed you as being your purpose upon this world. So if you enjoyed this video, guys, thanks for watching. Tell me your thoughts down in the comments below. Of course, if you're interested in any kind of coaching with regards to mindset, things like this with what I'm talking about, with regards to overcoming bad habits, self-defeating, limiting beliefs, intrusive thoughts, if you're suffering from any of these kinds of things, even with regards to accountability, building up better kind of routines for yourself. If you want to do anything like that, then book in a free one-on-one coaching call with me and we can see where it leads in relation to you and the application of the solutions I have for you in those regards. So thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll speak to you in the next video.